Today I'm going to show you how to create this hairstyle. Braided buns were worn throughout the Regency period from about 1800s onwards, and this particular style with the 5-strand braid, the really high braid, and the little bunches of curls on the side was worn from about 1818 to about 1825, so a later Regency look. Today I'm going to show you how to recreate, or how my interpretation of recreating this style using modern products and tools. Let's get started. I am rocking the big bushy hair today. I am on day 3 of a curl set, so my hair doesn't really have curl left. There's a bit of a wave, but it's mostly just volume and body, which is perfect for this style. During this part of the Regency, kind of the ideal hair is going to be very long and luscious and thick. None of which is me, so I need to mimic that. And a good way to do that is to use curls that aren't particularly fresh. Now you can do this with a fresh curl set as well, you just need to brush out your curls. Other thing, because I don't have thick, luscious, long hair that will do something like this, we need to have a braid for this style, and specifically we need to have a 5-strand braid for this style because that's what they were doing. In addition, they were using thick 3-strand braids as well as rows and rows of thin 3-strand braids stacked on top of each other, but I like the 5-strand braid, so that's what we're gonna do. The idea of me being able to produce this kind of braid with my own hair is just impossible. It's impossible. I don't have the hair for that. So this is where hair pieces are your friend, and you can either buy this from me, or you can make your own and just braid up a clump of hair and put it into a round, and this is what we're going to use a little bit later on. The first thing that we need to do, of course, as always, is we need to section the hair. So for this particular sectioning, we do want some face framing, but not kind of your classic Regency face framing or your early Regency face framing. We want to do the late version because this is a late Regency style, so it needs to be a bit thick. So really, to figure out where my face framing needs to start and how to section, I kind of need to use my braid as a guide, because ultimately your part needs to go, so you need to have a center part. It's always a center part with this style, and your part needs to go all the way back to where the braid begins, and I need to figure out where that's going to be. So I'm just going to test this out and kind of see where I want to put this eventually. So it needs to be there. This is all very scientific, you can tell. So I need my part to start slightly behind that so I can hide that little joint a little bit easier. So I'm going to start slightly behind, and then I don't want to go just straight down. I actually want to create a bit of a curve because it's going to be easier to cover, but not like a full C, more like a, I don't know, not a full C. So I'm going to go and I'm going to take my comb, I'm going to grab my hair over here so I can kind of gauge where my ear is. I've got my thumb on my ear, and I'm gonna go in a sort of semicircular motion around, ending at the ear. So if you can see that, and I'm gonna clip this hair out of my way so I don't mess that up, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, or get as close as I can without being able to actually see the side of my head. I'm gonna go do it partly by feel because I know what it felt like on the other side. Alright, and you guys can probably judge better than me how I did. I feel like I went a little far out. I did. So let's adjust that, and because I went too far out, I can clip this. And is that better? Sort of better. That's definitely better. Close enough. The other way you can probably tell is to kind of gauge how much hair you've got on each side. Now, my hair grows a little bit thicker on this side of my head than it does on this side of my head. Everybody's does. You're going to have one side that's thicker than the other. You're also going to have one side that grows slightly faster than the other, in case you didn't realize that. Little secrets that your hairdresser may or may not be revealing to you. So that feels about right, and it looks about right. It's close enough. I'm just going to straighten up my center part a little bit. It's gotten a little Okay, so now that we've sectioned this out, I need to curl it, and I'm gonna curl it with a 3/4 inch curling iron. You want to go no larger than 3/4 of an inch. This is the absolute largest that I would recommend to do your side curls with. Otherwise, I would recommend doing, you could do a 1/2 inch, or you could even do like a tapered that goes from 3/4 to a 1/2 inch, something like that. But you don't want anything bigger than 3/4 of an inch. Believe me, I've tried, I have experimented with all the curling irons in my house, and I have a lot. And you don't want to go any bigger than this. So I'm going to go ahead and just start curling, and I'm going to just take some smaller sections because I don't want the curls to be too big, and that's a good way to prevent that. And I'm just gonna curl this up. Now you'll notice that I'm curling with the hair going up because that's how the curl is gonna go, the little barrel curls that we're gonna create. So you wanna definitely curl with the hair in this position. And then if your hair tends to lose its curl quickly, or you haven't used any prep products in your hair before you originally did it, or in your hair, you can pin these up as you go, and I didn't bring any clips in here, so I'm not going to. Didn't grow very well right here, so I'm just gonna touch that up a little bit. I was too busy messing around with the end. I'm gonna go ahead and leave these curls to just do their own thing. I'm gonna pin up just one of them because it's a little bit in my way and it's annoying me. And we're gonna do the back hair. And basically we're just gonna put this hair up in a bun. It's nothing groundbreaking at all. Now the one thing I'm gonna do is section out a little bit more hair, and I'll tell you why I'm gonna do that here in a little bit. So I'm just gonna quickly section out a bit from the top. Alright, so now it's time to put the rest of this up in a bun. Now this bun underneath is not really going to be seen, so it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. I'm just going to do a really easy like ballerina bun. Now I do want it to not be too tight. I do want some volume in it. So I'm just gonna pull it out a little bit. Okay. And then I'm just gonna use some large bobby pins to secure it. Okay, so now what are we gonna do? Are you gonna stay or do you need to be pinned? I think I'm gonna pin you. Okay, so now what are we gonna do with this mysterious section here? Well, we're actually gonna cover the bun. There are some images that you can see with these large braided buns where the inside of the bun, it's covered over with a flat piece of hair to sort of camouflage everything that's going on in there. So that's what we're recreating. So I'm gonna take this section of hair. Now, if you want to, or if your hair is having what I call a thin day and you need a little bit more texture, you can always use a texturizing powder on it. My hair is being nice and full and bushy today and a bit frizzy, so I don't need that. So I'm just gonna go straight to my teasing brush and I'm gonna go ahead and tease this section into a light kind of billowy tease. All the way to the ends. And this is just going to give me, one, some control, but also it does help to kind of soften the hair. It brings it all together, it gives me control, and then it's going to soften it. And then I am simply going to roll it down in almost like a big pincoat roll. Don't worry about the ends. As long as they're tucked under, you're good to go. And then I'm just going to bring this up and over so that I'm covering the back of my bun area here. And then I'm going to grab the front section and I'm going to just grab just that edge and pull that a little tighter so that I'm covering the whole thing. Do the same on the other side. Now, the edges of this are not really going to show because they're all going to be covered with the braided bun, so it doesn't have to look perfect. As long as it looks good like in the center, then you're good to go. So now I'm going to add some pins, and we're going to do a lot of double back method pinning where I grab it in the direction opposite of where I want to go, grab some hair, twist, and then insert. Okay, and I've got a little section that wants to separate, so because I've teased it, I can push hair over a little bit to fill up any gaps, and then I just want to make sure that I'm pinned this side because it seems to want to be a little misbehaving today. Just like that. Now let me go ahead and double check the back because I've been doing this all by feel. Y'all can see it, I cannot. To me. So for the fringe, now that it's curled, I want to take small sections, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the sections you use to curl, but I'm going to start with small sections here, and I'm going to take the knot out. Jeez, don't be like that. Okay, and again, you can use texturizing powder if you want. I'm not going to today, but you just want to give it a real light tease. I am barely touching this until I get to the bottom, and then I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive because the bottom's not going to show. Just smooth it out with your fingers. You can add a little bit of working hairspray to help smooth it out if you want. Or you can put a little hair oil on your fingers to help. That will reduce your bulk, so be careful with the hair oil. Use like a very scant amount. And then you're just going to roll this on your finger. And then the trick to this is as you roll this up, don't let it get too loose. You want this to stay pretty tight and contained. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be not huge or it just doesn't look right. All right, girls, I need you to stop. Okay, so now that we've come all the way to the base, I'm gonna grab a pin, and because this is kind of a small section and I have thin hair, I'm gonna use a mini pin on this one, and then I'll graduate up and start using some bigger ones. And I'm just gonna open up the pin, grabbing, see where my finger is? I'm gonna grab where the base is into the root to secure this onto my head. Just like that. And I didn't get enough root here, so I'm gonna try it again. you want to make sure that this is going to stay because this is what's keeping this here. And then I'm going to fluff it out. I've teased it a little bit so I can do that. Okay. And there is one of curls. And this is going to look so stupid until it's completely done and you see the whole look, and then you're going to go, wow, that looks interesting. Until then it looks real doofy. This one I'm going to split in half. Give it a little tease. And roll up the finger. Now if you have super duper long hair or you have super duper thick hair, you have high density, you don't have to take as far back of a parting as I did. You can go all the way, just do the top and come like just down to the ear. I had to go back that far to get the maximum amount of hair possible because I need to make the most of it because I don't have a lot. So here we go. I'm going to grab another pin, pin it in, and then spread it out along the length of the pin. This one I want to place towards the back because I want to be able to cover up that part line. So make sure that you're not just putting them in a row in the front. This is not the 18th century. You don't want just a little row of curls, although some of them do kind of look like that in the imagery. But if you break it up a little bit and have them at kind of different levels and going back and forth, it will help negate that particular look. Now, we're taking this part down pretty far, so you don't have to worry about filling the whole section, which is probably why they did it that way. I'm not two fingers doing one finger. I'm used to doing two because that's how I do 18th century curls. So this is just a basic pin curl technique, or a basic, this is how you can make barrel curls. A lot of people like to use some kind of implement like a knitting needle or something. I'm a big proponent of just learning the technique because then you can use it on everything. Okay. It's more versatile if you just know the technique than trying to use little shortcuts like that. Also don't want to be going too far away from the hairline. You kind of want to go right up to or almost over the hairline for this. As in, you don't want a gap between your curls and where your hairline starts. It should be kind of soft in that area. Alright, so we have one section left and we're just gonna do the same. Now I have little layers here. If you have longer layers, it actually will behave a little bit better. But you can definitely see where this style kind of comes from, where they were transitioning from a short fringe in the front, a small fringe in the front to longer lengths of hair in general at this time. Also make sure that it's not just pulled straight across. I've given myself a little bit of softness here. It kind of goes with that look. Now, because I have the short layers, it probably will not stay without assistance, so I'm going to pin that in real quick. Also want to make sure that this stays straight down, so I'm going to add a pin here as well. Hide it underneath those curls. And like to kind of mush them up a little bit. Some of the images do show like very specific rows, but I don't know, I think it's more fun when it's a little bit not as perfect. So now let's do the other side. Okay, so that looks pretty good. One side ended up fuller than the other side, which this is the side that has more hair on it, so I'm not that surprised. But I'm gonna pull a couple of these out just to kind of even out the look. I could fix this side and make it more small, or I can make this side a little bigger, and I'm in the mood to, I like this side. It's striking my fancy, so we're gonna mess with this one a little bit. And that's just the way things go, because your head isn't symmetrical, your hair isn't symmetrical. Sometimes you just need to mess around with it a little bit to get it perfect. So if you are doing your hair and it's not coming out exactly right the first time, it's fine, because you can always go back and redo something. A little bit more even. Still like this side better than this side, but you know, what are you gonna do? Sometimes your hair is just like, nope. Man, how did I do this? I want this over here, over here, over here, over.
And ladies and gentlemen, it is at this crucial moment of the video that my camera decided to lose its mind and stop recording the audio for absolutely no good reason. Yay! Anyway, getting back to the tutorial, I think the real problem here is that I just liked the denser side of my head better, the side that had more hair. Part of it was that, and also maybe working with my dominant versus non-dominant side. This side just came out so beautiful and so iconic of the period. You can't see the section line, you can't see my hairline, everything looks great. This side needs a little bit of help to get it to look good. In hindsight, I probably should have taken a little bit more hair from the thin side than the thicker side, or teased it a little bit more to give more artificial density, but the two sides of my head are sisters, they're not twins. But enough about the front, let's play with the braid. So I'm going to gently place this on top of that flat bun that I created earlier, making sure that you can't really see the bottom of that flat bun and that it is indeed flat, because you don't really want to see it from the front. It shouldn't come up and over the braid. It's really just to cover the back. So to pin these in, you could use regular bobby pins, but I find that sometimes the regular bobby pins, when I take them back out, can pull my braid a little bit. And because this is a hairpiece that I want to keep nice, I'm going to use hairpins or U-pins. So just the ones that are like a U shape. And I'm doing a double back method, so they're super secure because I have my hair in a bun underneath. So that root hair is not going anywhere. And as long as you catch the pin in that in the double back, it's super secure. I think I only used 5 pins to put this in, and it did not move. And here's the finished style. The transition between the Regency period and the Victorian period in the 1820s is one of my favorite periods of hair history. It's just so much fun. I wasn't sure what I thought of it at first, but once I finished the style and looked in the mirror, I could not keep the smile off my face. It's just so fun and playful and charming. I hope you'll give it a try too.